Question 7. When a question asks for something that two people disagree over, you're dealing with a pointed issue question. In a pointed issue question, your job is to read what each person says and then find an answer choice that you can prove they disagree about. Not just something that seems likely, but something that you can prove. So let's look at what they say sentence by sentence. Antonio tells us two things. First is a definition of what moderation is. A life of moderation is something that you get by never deviating from the middle course. But in the second sentence, we find out that there's a problem with that. You lose the joy of spontaneity. You miss opportunities that come to you from taking chances. Now, Marla basically tells us one major thing, that if you never take risks, you're not really living the life of moderation. In order to be moderate, you have to moderate your moderation. So if you're trying to live right in the middle, sometimes that means going to either side, because if you were always in the middle, you wouldn't be being moderate at being moderate. Okay, now we go to the answer choices looking for something that we can prove that these two people disagree about it. So we have to know what Antonio thinks, we have to know what Marla thinks, and we have to know that it's different. Answer choice A, whether it is desirable for people occasionally to take greater chances in life. Antonio does seem to have a view about this. He thinks that you lose out on joy if you don't take risks. Marla, on the other hand, doesn't really tell us how often people should take risks, or even whether it's desirable, just that if you're trying to be moderate, you have to take risks. Whether you want to be moderate, that's up to you. So, since I don't know what Marla thinks, that is not my answer. Answer choice B, what a life of moderation requires of a person. Now, this is something we can prove that the two people disagree about. Antonio thinks that living a life of moderation requires that you miss out on taking great chances. Marla thinks that if you never risk things, then you're not actually being moderate, so they disagree about what it means to be moderate, whether you take risks or you don't. So answer choice B is my answer. Let's glance at the other answers just to see what. Answer choice C, whether it's possible for a person to embrace other virtues along with moderation. Neither person talks about other virtues other than being moderate, so C is not the answer. Answer choice D, how often a person ought to deviate from the middle course in life. Neither person makes recommendations about how you ought to live, so we don't know what either person thinks about this. And finally, answer choice E, whether it is desirable for people to be moderately spontaneous. Moderately spontaneous is a completely new idea. I know that to be moderate, according to Marla, you have to sometimes be spontaneous. I know that according to Antonio, you aren't sometimes spontaneous. I don't know what it means to be moderately spontaneous. So answer choice E is not my answer. The answer is B.